Welcome back to the GCN Tech Clinic, where we aim to answer your bike and maintenance related questions. And as ever, you can submit your questions down in the comment section below using the hashtag AskGCNTech. This is the first one of 2022, so let's get cracking. Now, the first question comes from Rob Gruppetta, cool name. He says, hi to all of you, hope you had a great Christmas. I have a gravel bike and regularly swap tyres between gravel and road tyres. This is a bit of a faff this, so I thought about getting a second set of wheels to make swapping easier. But my local bike shop said they wouldn't advise this, as the cassettes on each wheel set would wear at different rates and shifting would not be consistent and smooth. I'm still attracted to the ease of swapping wheels though. What do you think? Cheers. I would absolutely recommend swapping between wheel sets. It's something that we do. There's no problem with it. Loads of top cyclists do this. I'm not suggesting we're top cyclists, but it is something that should work absolutely fine. The wear thing can be an issue, but one thing to do is to just regularly check the wear on both your chain and your cassette. And you can actually get a wear indicator tool to use on your chain. Park make them, and that'll quickly tell you. And simply by regularly cleaning your bike after rides, that way you will massively limit the wear that happens and extend the life of your components a huge amount. So regular cleaning is the main thing I'd advise. But yes, 2 sets of wheels, perfectly fine to do. Absolutely, go for it. Next question is from Benjamin NG. How significant is the difference between a 143mm and a 150mm wide saddle? Would it really be that significant if I only cycle 50 kilometers or less each time? Can you really feel the difference from my bum? Well, 12mm in the width of a saddle might not seem like much, but it really can be all the difference in the world. And generally, some saddles will name the difference in width by a specific number, but you may see it as regular or large on other saddle brands depending on what you use. Now, I would say that if your current saddle doesn't really affect you and you're fine using it, probably if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Just probably stick with it. If you feel that the saddle is too wide and causing you discomfort, then it might be worth switching to a different width. It can make a significant amount of difference, and saddle comfort can make or break your ride. But the main thing I would say is, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. One thing you can also do is if you go to your local bike shop, they often have a saddle sort of fitting device where they can measure the width of your sit bones, and that's usually what determines which width saddle will best suit your needs. So it might be worth doing that if you are curious. The next question is from Sebo Piero, who says, most saddle models, another saddle question, have different grades, with the top one usually made of carbon with carbon rails. For the same model and size, is a saddle with carbon rails more comfortable than a saddle with alloy rails, or is it just a matter of weight? Usually, as saddles get more expensive, they usually just decrease in weight. The profile and shape of a saddle will often remain the same, so comfort is pretty consistent throughout the models. So yeah, it's usually just you're paying more money to save a bit of weight. That said, saddle is probably one of the most cost-effective areas to reduce the weight of your bike, especially when you compare it to wheels. You pay significantly more money to save 150 grams on your wheels compared to saving 150 grams on a saddle. Pound for gram saved, it's a more economical way to save weight. Next question is from Lorenz Dorman, who says, hi Alex, Ollie and Manon. I've built up a road bike with 10-speed 105 on it. Group set of people, good choice. He says, everything is running smoothly except for the fact I have trouble shifting into the smallest sprocket on the back. What can I do to change that? Well, the first thing I would check is that the cable tension is correct. You might have too much cable tension if it won't go down to small ring. Or the other thing is that your limit screw might not be set right. So we have videos on this about troubleshooting your gears and setting up your cable gears correctly. Make sure that limit screw is in the correct position so that the derailleur can actually allow the chain to be pulled down onto that smallest sprocket. And then if you've gone through all of those steps and checked the cable tension and also check the limit screw and it's still not going into the little sprocket, one thing that could be the issue is especially if the frame's taken a knock or if it's an older bike, the mech hanger itself might be bent. Now there are tools that you can use to check the alignment of the mech hanger. If you don't have one, your local bike shop will have one and they can check and see if it's bent for you and then either straighten it or get a replacement. Next question is from Remo Weber, who says, hey guys, it might be a stupid question. No question's a stupid question. But anyway, is there a specific gear to store your bike in when it's got Di2 in regards to less or more tension on the motors? Thanks a lot and kind regards from Switzerland. There is, well, no sort of specific gear that you should or shouldn't store your bike in. It's not something I sort of tend to worry about. But the small chainring and the small sprocket will leave the derailleur with the least tension on the springs in the derailleur if it's like a mechanical bike. So yeah, there is an argument that you could do that. I did hear from a team years and years ago that they were using, I won't name what the bike sponsor was, but on that particular bike sponsor, the mech hanger was really, really soft. And they found that if they left the bike in like biggie big with the mech hanger pulled along all the way to the side, they reckoned it was actually bending the mech hanger slightly while the bikes were in transit, which was causing problems. But that was a sort of fault with that bike that had a particularly soft mech hanger. But normally, yeah, shouldn't be an issue. Don't need to worry about it too much. But of course, optimum bike vault rules, biggie smalls, always looks good. Anyhow, Benny Fish said, could over-inflating a tubeless tyre cause the tubeless rim tape to rip? This summer, while on a bikepacking trip, I made a stop to pump up some air into my tubeless tyres, only for one of them to go completely flat due to a hole in the rim tape just a few minutes later. I later realised I'd pumped up the tyres into their tubed setup recommended pressure instead of the tubeless recommended pressure. I've not heard of this before, but technically, yeah, it could happen, especially if your rim tape is fairly old and maybe it's become fatigued over time, or maybe it's the adhesive on the rim tape has got a bit fatigued and therefore the rim tape starts to lift slightly and you've got a bit of an air gap underneath it. Not all rims use rim tape, that's something worth pointing out. But I'd say it's probably more likely that when you've installed your tyre, you could have damaged the rim tape when installing it, or maybe not fitting the tyre properly. Tyre levers, when levering a tyre on, they can sometimes puncture rim tape. And maybe if you've installed a plug into your tubeless tyres, that has the potential to damage rim tape as well. So yeah, probably worth just inspecting your rim tape. And if you have rim tape on your wheels, then just be mindful of inserting things in like plugs, because you can damage it, and tyre levers. Next question, and the last question this week, says, dearest Ollie, Alex and Manon, cheers to a great year and hopefully another one on the way. My question is, who won the GCN Tech Presenter of the Year award? I don't know. I don't know if there is one, but I think I'd vote for Alex. I think he has done a sterling job. Sorry, Manon, she's not here. Anyway, and you're not allowed to vote for yourself. Anyway. Well, that's unfortunately all we've got time for this week. Sorry if I didn't get round to your question, but please persevere. Keep the questions coming down in the comment section below using hashtag AskGCNTech, and hopefully we'll get round to your question in a future episode. It's always a pleasure answering your questions, and thanks for submitting them. Right, I'm going to go now. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and right, I'll catch you later. Bye.